have just one guest on. Janine Porter from the Irving ISD is attending today for Superintendent Magna Hernandez. So the top right-hand corner of your screen for most of you. So there she's waving at us. So we'll let her give us an update on Magna's surgery recovery in just a moment. But glad to have so many of the rest of you popping on here. Well, let's go ahead and start a couple of minutes early. I have the things we're going to talk about today, and hopefully we'll have others jumping on while we're doing this. But we're going to start off with Bill LaBar leading us in our invocation today. So, Bill, welcome. So glad to see you, and pray for us.
Sure. Would you join me in the spirit of prayer? Together an unusual way for a Rotary Club, electronically, but we are together in spirit, and we continue to ask your blessing upon our club, upon its work in the community. We're not having a meal together today, but we ask that you bless the food that we will be partaking, take it to the nourishment of our bodies, and keep us throughout this day and in our conversation in your peace. In the name of the Christ, amen.
Amen. Well, before we do the pledge, give Jordan just a moment. He's going to mute everybody and then unmute Bobby Haas. Go ahead, Bobby.
Are you ready? Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. I forgot the rest of it. I'm sorry.
And to the republic for which
it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen.
That's good. Thank you, Bobby. Let's go to our song. Today will be America the Beautiful, led by Blake and Neil and maybe Sandra Davidson. So Jordan's going to mute all the mics, and then Blake will give us just a second to unmute you before y'all start singing, all right? All right, Blake, you're all ready. Go ahead.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood, from sea to shore.
Wonderful. Thank you, Blake and Neil and Sandra.
Thank you.
It's nice to be able to mute yourself when you're singing so you can sing and don't have to worry about scaring everybody else in the room.
Yeah.
While we were singing, Don Jensen jumped on and Bob Bourgeois is here. Who else jumped on? Shane is here. How are you, sir? Trying to see if anybody else has come on since we were praying and pledging there. Well, we're glad everybody's here. Let me I think our only visiting Rotarian or guest today is Janine Porter from the Irving Independent School District. So Janine, would you unmute yourself and introduce yourself to the club and maybe give us a quick update on the district or on Superintendent Hernandez, all right?
Absolutely. Good afternoon, everyone. Janine Porter, Chief of Employee Services with Irving ISD. So I support the Human Resources Department there. Pleasure meeting each of you. Superintendent Hernandez sends her regards. She is recuperating from knee surgery. She's doing very well with it, and she hates she can't be there with you guys, but she has to be at home now and doing rehab. But again, she's doing very well, and we expect her back soon. The district is moving full steam ahead. We hope to be able to release our plans for the upcoming school year in the next couple of weeks. We'll have plans presented to the board at work session next week. We're working on 3 different contingency plans. Our main goal is to make sure that we are prepared as a district to support whatever situation we are given when school starts in the fall, because you cannot plan COVID, right? So we just want to be able to respond to it. So we have plans in the works for if we're able to start school as normal, if we have to start school virtually, or if we're able to start school as normal and we end up having to transfer over to virtual learning. So we will make sure that, again, we're equipped to make sure that all of our students and staff are as safe as possible as we open up school next year. Another important piece for this time of year in human resources realm is recruitment and making sure that we will be fully staffed when school starts. We're happy to report that within this new normal, we've been able to develop some kind of creative ways of recruiting teachers, because all the universities and colleges, of course, canceled all of their recruiting fairs, and that's where we get the bulk of our teachers from. So we've been able to use systems such as Zoom to conduct virtual fairs. So we've had fairs for our secondary groups, our elementary groups, and had over 400 people at those fairs. So we are in really good shape when we look at vacancies going into the school year and moving ahead as far as making sure that we're going to be fully staffed with the most effective teachers when the school year starts. And on all other fronts, I'll say the superintendent always says that she's proud of the manner in which our team has pulled together and handled the pandemic, because the district has moved ahead on all fronts. You know, we've continued with all of our board meetings as planned, moving the calendar forward for the next school year. Everything that we have done in the past, we've been able to move it forward, so we make sure that we communicate with our employees and they know where we are as far as planning and that type of thing. So again, we're just moving forward in a positive manner and looking forward to be able to put out definitive plans so everyone can plan accordingly.
Thank you, Janine.
Yes, sir.
Imagine how challenging it is to just get 30 or 40 Rotarians on a computer screen, and now you have 400 job applicants you're trying to do via Zoom. So we know your task is challenging, Janine, but we know that you'll be recruiting the best teachers for Irving ISD. And
yes,
please
sir.
send our best regards to Superintendent Hernandez. Let her know we're praying for her speedy recovery. Would you also let her know at some point when she is able to return that our club will be meeting, continue to meet virtually, but we'll also be meeting in person starting next week at the country club. So at whatever time she's able to join us, she can do that there. Or if Nicole wants to join us and get a good meal, she can come meet us at the country club as well.
Will do.
I don't see any other guest with us today, but we do have one individual that we acknowledged earlier, and so I just want to do it properly. Bill Ibarra is joining our meeting virtually today. So Bill, not a stranger to anybody, but so glad that he can, let's welcome Bill. Do you want to say anything to the club, sir? You got to hit that space bar or unmute yourself there. It's good.
Bobby?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yes.
The first time I had to say the Lord's Prayer in a church as a pastor, I forgot it. So it's occupational hazard. It's good to be back. I'm looking forward to be back. I've been gone a year, which is what I said that I was going to do. And I've still been involved in the flag program. And as I told you earlier, I went down and disassembled between 40 and 50 flags this morning. So when we get there Saturday morning, all we can do is just go into production, straight production. And we'll work an hour because it gets a little warm down there after about 9 o'clock at the YMCA barn. And thank you for your gracious welcome.
Well, Bill, thank you for your help with the flag program. And do you want to officially announce that we may be seeing you a little bit more frequently after July 1st? Well,
it's my intention to come back and join the club at July the 1st.
So for those of you that asked.
I can tell you a couple of things. I saw Ken Lancaster a couple of weeks ago, and he was doing very well. His color was good. He had hair. His attitude was good. He said that the doctors have told him he has a slow-growing cancer, and I said, well, Ken, considering we thought you were going to be dead a year ago,
Yeah.
I would say that's true. But and he wants to come back to the club. He wants to come visit, and so I'm going to try to make that happen. And the second thing is, I talked to Bill Wood Sunday afternoon, and Bill's not going to let you know a whole lot except that he has cancer on his liver, and just haven't seen him. So lift him up in your prayer.
We will make sure we do that. Thank you for keeping us updated on that, Bill. We're happy about that. Well, in the last few moments, Lourdes has jumped on with us. Jerry Hicks has joined us. So I'm just looking to see if anybody else. So thanks all of you for being part of our Rotary Club meeting today. Got a couple of things before we get into our official program. So either Kathy Howard or Bobby Haas, do either of you want to give us an update on flags? While they're deciding, I was given a note by Lindy that shows we have 1,252 paid flags. We brought in $62,068 in revenue so far. We have 634 pending renewals. And as you heard Kathy and Lindy both say this morning, we've had other people call today signing up for flags. So it's possible that if we could get all of our pending renewals and with some of our new flags, we could even hit a 1,900 flag number before this year's over with. Bob Bourgeois, would you like to say anything in addition to that for the flags?
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now. Go ahead, sir.
Well, I would say that Flag Day, everything seemed to go pretty smoothly compared to Memorial Day. And I know you were out there, Robert, and I think Jordan was. And I think this is the first time in a long time I was at Millennium Fountain except to drive by. So that was terrific.
Did we put the right end of the flags in the ground for Millennium Fountain? They're right.
It sounded like it went well to me.
Okay. All right.
The only, I can tell you two things about Millennium Fountain. We had one, we sent out and we told everyone we would save their states for them that they had subscribed for previously and sponsored. One guy did not, I think it's Tennessee. So we do have one state available. When Ken Lancaster expressed that he wanted a state, we didn't have any states left. So we came up with two new opportunities. Arch, and Linda Despain was our first Arch sponsor. Now, if you've been to Millennium, you know that the Arch is on the west side of the fountain towards City Hall. So there's room at least for 4 prominent displays at the Arch. So Linda is the first one that's an Arch sponsor, and Ken Lancaster is the first Millennium Walk sponsor. So we have room for a lot more flags at Millennium, and we'll try and increase that marketing effort soon.
Excellent. And Rick Lindsay's not on at the moment, but Bob, you want to share with the club about us putting the flags out next Wednesday and why they're going to go out early and what the city plans to do with the flags around Millennium Fountain?
Oh, yes, that's a terrific. We were contacted by Thomas Gandy, who works at ICTN. And I'm sure if you've ever seen anything on ICTN, Tom, one of the main reporters, along with Kathy Whiteman, I guess. The city has decided, or they wanted to use Millennium Fountain as the backdrop for their virtual 4th of July celebration. They're going to begin filming on June 24th. So they asked us if the flags would be out on the 24th, and of course they were not going to be, but they will be now. So they'll go out the morning of the 24th, and hopefully we will have all of the cards done, so each state and the sponsor of each state will be identified. I think they're going to interview, are you out of town, Robert? I think Rick Lindsay is going to be the interview.
Yes, 9 o'clock that night.
Yes. So that's when they begin filming, and I guess it will be broadcast on July 4th.
Correct. So our flags and the Millennium Fountain will be the key backdrop for that entire citywide production. And Richard, Raymond, and Jordan and I plan to get those flags out next Wednesday morning at 8 a.m. So we already got that handled, all right?
Terrific.
Thank you to
I'd
each
just
of you.
like,
Go ahead, Kathy.
okay, I'd like to add that Rosa called me yesterday and said that Oscar, who puts out the flags at Hackberry, has volunteered. He has 2 scouts that need a badge of some sort. You all would know more about that than I do. And they're going to videotape the installation of flags and how to put in sleeves and put stars on curbs, so that we have some kind of an instruction video for new people. And Bob, I think you gave them that idea. And she was going to call you about it. And evidently Oscar is a videographer.
Bob, you're still muted if you want to unmute your mic. There you go.
Had a very long conversation with Rosa this morning, and I sent an email about 11:30 to Robert and Rick Lindsay and Kathy Howard, and I thanked Rosa. But we decided, yes, that video will serve many different purposes, and someone will share more about that with you next week. But yes, right now we need to decide to come up what we need to video. It's going to go far beyond the installation so that we can use it for new Rotarian orientation, use it with HOA groups. We will be able to use it, depending on how it's edited, with the parents of scouts and volunteers, so they'll know exactly what they're getting into and if they feel comfortable joining the program. So yeah, I had a terrific conversation with Rosa this morning, and we're going to move forward with that.
Now, are you going to do a special segment, Bob, on how to repair sprinklers if you do it wrong, how to fix it? Is that going to be the sequel to this video series, or we're hoping the video is how to do it right the first time?
Yeah, I think we'll get an estimate from one of the sprinkler companies, and we'll let everyone know why we don't want to go down that road.
That's why you need to watch this video first, right?
Probes properly and install the sleeves before the rainy season is over, because right now it's almost impossible. And Rosa and I discussed that as well. And we may actually we're going to add a disclaimer to our subscription process to let people know that we may not be able, if it's a drought type condition, we may not be able to properly install your sleeve. So we will have to ask for the homeowner's help. And we've come up with a couple of different ways, to have a gallon jug or a half-gallon jug with a drip hole in it, so that the hole will be, where the flag is going to go, will be prepared to receive the sleeve. Yes, lots of fun.
Lots of fun. Well, thank you for that, Bob. There obviously is a few more technicalities in trying to install and deliver almost 2,000 flags every year. So, but if we can get some of the planning preparation down where we can organize the process in such a way it'll eliminate some of the problems on the backside. Well, thank you for that. If you have other questions on the flag program, we'll come back to that at the end. I want to give Jordan just a couple of minutes to give us kind of a social media update. And then I have a series of 10 questions I want to talk to the club about today. So I hope all of you will stay with us. But Jordan, talk to us a little bit about some of the things that are happening on our social media side of our Rotary Club.
Yeah, social media is definitely trending up. I just pulled some metrics for 1 week of, or I guess it's technically 2 weeks now, of June. So followers on LinkedIn have gone from 39 to 50. Followers on Twitter have gone from 35 to 43. Followers on Facebook have gone from 270 to 285. We have 10 subscribers on our YouTube channel, and we average right now about 24 views of these recap videos once we chop them and put them on YouTube. Our highest engagement has been almost 3,000 engagements on, mainly it's been on flag photos or on videos of the students, the Interact students putting out flags. That's where we've seen the most engagement, mainly just because of the type of content is pictures or photos or videos. Those always retrieve much higher content engagement. So we're trending in the right direction. I know everybody's doing their part on whatever platform they feel the most comfortable to like, share, and engage those posts as you see them. Again, we're not asking you to go search for things, but as you're on social media and you're actively participating, whenever you see a Rotary post, which Rotary puts out 4 posts per day, every single day. So there's plenty of posts to see. Then whenever you see one, just be sure you're liking, you're sharing, you're engaging. If you're not currently following on whatever platform you spend the most time on, please do so, just because it makes things easier for us to be able to interact with all of our members in different capacities. So.
Thank you, Jordan. And one of the long-term benefits of social media is the fact that we're trying to reach a group of potential Rotarians in the 30 and 40-year-old age group, getting them content about Rotary, get them interested in Rotary, and perhaps being able to get them to attend a meeting and maybe join our club. So we need to have 100 subscribers on our YouTube channel in order for us to be able to broadcast our YouTube Rotary meetings live. So right now they're being recorded, edited, and uploaded on YouTube. So if you have a YouTube or you just go to YouTube and want to subscribe to our page, as soon as we have 100 subscribers, we'll be able to send our meetings out live. So if you can help us with that, I would appreciate it. Well, I want to have a conversation with you today. Our schedule showed that we were going to recognize our current board this week, and if we were at the country club, I would have done that. I just, we've had so many people that have helped us in so many different ways. I just did not feel like I could do justice to that on a computer screen, but we are meeting at the country club next week. I do know that not all of you will necessarily want to attend, but we're still going to be meeting there. And so those of you that feel comfortable, there will be social distancing, probably 4 people to a table. It will be a plated meal. They'll take your drink orders and bring them to you. So we'll do everything we can to make that a safe environment for those of you that want to attend. But the meeting will also be on Zoom and will also be on Facebook Live. So those of you that don't attend can watch it live on Facebook. Those of you that Zoom in, just like you're looking at the computer screen right now, there's going to be a large 60-inch flat screen TV on a mount that will be connected to a laptop. And so for those of you that are joining by Zoom next week, that TV monitor will be filled with the pictures of everybody, and you'll be able to interact with the group. The group will be able to interact with you. It's just, again, a new way that we're going to be engaging. So we might have 20 or 30 members that are physically in the room, and maybe another 20 or 30 members that are attending via Zoom. And we might still have other people that are watching us on Facebook Live. And that's really what we want, is to be able to engage as many of our members during this time as we can. So we will be meeting next week. I will be recognizing the outgoing board at next week's meeting. So if you are a board member, if you're able to attend, that'll be great. If not, I will be recognizing those board members virtually. And then we don't meet on July 2nd because of the 4th of July weekend, but on July 9th, we will be installing the new board for the 2020-2021 year on that particular Thursday. So if you're able to join us for that or join us virtually, that would be great. Well, I've had some conversation with other club presidents, Rotary district individuals regarding how do we move forward as a Rotary club with some of the uncertainty that's going on with society. So I've got 10 questions I want to ask you today. Now, let me just tell you, Mara, I'm going to email these 10 questions to you, and Jordan, you'll get a copy of them. You can write these down. We're going to have some discussions about these 10 questions, but in the 23 minutes I have left, we don't really have time to discuss all of them. But these are just a series of questions that I think are going to help us determine what our club looks like moving forward. Because at least in the short term, I don't think our club's going to look the way it did on March the 10th, which was the last time we physically met together at the country club. So the first question that I need to really have you help me address is what changes should our club, what changes should our club prepare for as we return to our normal weekly meetings? I know that health and safety is probably a primary concern on everybody's part. You want to go to an environment where you don't have to worry about being sick, but part of that we don't have control over. We have to trust the country clubs doing their part, and we have to trust that the people, nobody's showing up when they're sick and things like that. But I don't think the country club's going to be taking temperature when people enter the club, but it's hard wearing a mask. You're going to have to take that off while you eat. And so I'm open to what of the 19 and in preparation for future global health issues. Because if you're tuned in, most people don't think this is the last global health issue. Should our club adopt a virtual member classification? That's one of the discussions in Rotary, is that you may have a group of members that either because of elevated health concerns or that they're in a high risk category, they may not ever want to return back to a formal traditional Rotary Club meeting. And so some clubs are going to a virtual member classification. So I'm open to whatever our club wants to adopt. That's not something that the district or Rotary International is going to mandate. It's just something that we have to decide if we want to have virtual members, and which means for as long as we're a member of the club, we're going to be doing something where somebody can always attend via Zoom or via FaceTime. The third question, and if any of you have input and you want to jump in right now, if you can either wave at me or hit your I have a question button, I'll stop. So my intent is not necessarily to run through these. So if you have a comment on how should we prepare or the virtual member classification? Anybody waving at me there? I'm looking. Did I see a hand go up there?
Robert, it'd be great if Mara could send these questions out in an email, and we could all answer them.
I'm going to send them tomorrow so that she can forward them out. And what I would very much like is that all of you type your responses and send them back to me so that I can compile that. And then I do intend to discuss that a little bit at next week's meeting. So we'll make sure everybody gets a copy, all right? Thank you, Kathy. The third question is, should we continue to meet on a weekly basis? Not every Rotary Club meets every week. So, or should we do one or more service projects a month in lieu of a weekly or monthly meeting? All right. So just getting your input on what you think. I've got a note here that virtual membership is worth considering. So I'm getting some chats from some of you. So as you send notes, I'll read those. I think virtual membership would be great, especially for many of our older members who sometimes, Ken Lancaster, I'd love for Ken to be watching virtually. And even some of our Rotarians that have retired. Frank King just moved back to the Belton Temple area, but he might stay engaged with us as a Rotary member if we had that virtual membership. Maura says, I would love it if we could swap out, what was the rest of your question, Maura? Swap out a weekly based or outside of the office hour service projects once or twice a month beyond flag season. So this is something I'm going to have, and the reason I'm asking the question is the country club's wanting me to sign a revised contract for the rest of this year. You know, we signed a contract back last year to get us through, but that contract went void when the COVID hit, so they're wanting us to sign a new contract. So if we're not going to meet, we just say we're not going to meet the second Tuesday of the month. Let me just use that as an example. And we're going to do a service project, or we're going to have a happy hour meeting, or we're going to go mentor students, whatever we're going to do in lieu of a meeting. First of all, I don't want to do that and only have 10 of our members do the outside project and the rest of them are just taking the week off. But we would have to tell the club that in advance so that they didn't bill us for that week. So we need to decide on that. Even if our members meet in person, this is the next question. How do you feel about having virtual speakers or virtual programs? Because the other issue we're running into is that even though we may be willing to meet, some of our speakers aren't necessarily wanting to meet in person. So if we met and we had 30 Rotarians in a room and maybe another 20 or 30 watching virtually, if we had a virtual speaker, how would you feel about that? I know we've done that well for the last 2.5 months, but a lot of times when we consider having a program, that program's actually there in person. So we had another chat that came in here. One of the questions, could we consider moving to twice a month and doing projects or other things the other 2 weeks? That's the kind of things I need you to tell me. Now, I'm not trying to change your Rotary Club. I'm just trying to find out what it is that our club wants to do moving forward. Here's the 5th question that I need you to address. And this question is, how likely are you to remain in Rotary for the next 5 years? Now, I know that none of us can forecast what might happen to us or if we're going to move, but if you're already making plans to exit Rotary within the next year or two, it would be helpful if we knew that so that we can, I'm developing a 5-year leadership plan that I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about next week. And, you know, if we need to get certain people in certain roles, it helps to be able to plan for that. So how likely are you to remain in Rotary for the next 5 years? Here's question number 6. How can we do a better job of connecting and mentoring our Interact students at Singley Academy? We have about 20 Interact students there. At MacArthur High School, we have about 10 Interact students at MacArthur High School. Those students have been out helping us put out flags. They want to be more involved with our club. But we've not really, as a club, done much of anything with those students, unless some of them happen to go to Camp Ryla or some of them have received our scholarships that we award every year. So it is nice when that recognition goes to somebody that already has a connection with Rotary. But should we, could we, and do we want to do a better job of connecting and mentoring with those Interact students. Here's question number 7. So Bob and Kathy, y'all may want to respond on this one. Should we continue to grow our flag program as our primary revenue source to support our community projects, scholarships, and programs? We're in a transition, implementing a new software program, dealing with some of the changes in personnel and people. Right now, we only have 1,252 flags, but in a city of 200,000, we could have 5,000 or more flags. But and I'm not saying we should grow it to 5,000 next year, Bob. I don't want you to choke on that peanut there, all right? But should we make that a priority of trying to grow the flag? And the only reason I'm bringing this up is that is our primary source of revenue. And it is somewhat of a sustainable course of revenue. We don't have to worry about getting the event rained out, or even in the COVID-19 era, we've still been able to put out flags. So it is something that we can continue to do, but how much do we want to grow that? Anybody want to chat on that before I move on to the next question?
Robert, this is Maura.
Yes, Mark.
Just on the Rotary flag program, and I think I've had some conversations with a couple of folks offline, growing that and managing the sustainability of it with the human capacity and bandwidth for what we have just has to be part of that flag conversation. I mean, and the fact that it's the singular program we have right now for revenue, other than membership. So I think it's just, it can't be in a vacuum. We've been lucky that we have Kathy and Rosa willing to keep stepping back in, and that we have a core group of leaders from the club who get the work done. But, you know, kind of like your 5-year question, if we have a lot of that talent isn't going to be available to us at the end of 5 years, then we really need to think about some other things.
Well, we're all going to be 5 years older in 5 years.
And COVID years are like dog years.
Yes. So it just means we're going to have to get more younger members in the club. To me, that's one of the main reasons why we need to engage the emerging leaders that meet at La Cima, that are interested in being Rotaract members, and we need to engage better with the Interact members at Singley and MacArthur, because there is a very large pool of young, healthy bodies that could help us get this done. Kathy, were you going to jump in there, or Bob, or did you have something you were going to input on that?
All I was going to say is that we have an incredible base, that we have, these people have had these flags for over 10 years. They are very proud of their flags. They want their flags. I do believe that there is a way that we could possibly use our database that we have already with some of these people and just invite them to Rotary. They've not been invited. They've been invited to join the Rotary flag program, but I think we probably could get, you know, maybe 10, 20 new members if we just offer the opportunity. Because these people, there's a man down the street from me who I did not know until yesterday, and I asked him for a favor, and he stopped and he said, "Oh, you're the one with the flags." And I said, "Yes." And he said, "How did that all start?" And, you know, so he was interested in it. And of course I should have said, "Well, why don't you come join us?" But I didn't. But that's what I mean, is that we do have a base of people that are very proud of their flags, and that they might be a part of it if we just offered it.
And that's my thought as well. Some of them may want to be Rotarians, but some of them may want to be volunteers in our flag program. And here's another idea on flags. This is actually part of the same question. How would you feel about, if you're not sitting down, Bob and Kathy, I need y'all to sit down before I ask this question, all right? I was just thinking outside the box the other day, and I was just thinking, what if we used the flag program to honor veterans, to recognize first responders, and to support students. And we offer to put a flag for free in the yard of every veteran that lives in the city of Irving and every first responder that lives in the city of Irving. And we ask people, will you pay $5 or $10 more a month to help sponsor that flag? And then now we've gone from just being a flag program to recognizing veterans and first responders. And of course, the revenue's going to help support students and student scholarships. I just think that that changes the dynamic of the flag program if you're putting a flag in the yard of every veteran and first responder in the entire city for free. Got to find someone that's willing to give an extra $5 or $10 a month to pay for it. That's kind of part of my vision on growth with that. And the
I don't know if you remember, but in the beginning, we gave a $5 discount to those veterans, and we could extend that. And they've asked that since then. But what we realized, which was kind of funny, is that most of our people were veterans. And so we were getting, at that time, we were only getting, say, $40 and they'd get it for $35. But they appreciated that $5 recognition because it was on the form. It said, if you are a veteran, it's $5 less.
Good idea. I'm open to whatever the club wants to do in regards to that. Sorry, I'm just reading some of the notes that you guys are throwing along to me. You like the virtual programs. You seem to be okay with the virtual speakers. Let me get to my last couple of questions because it's already 12:53. You're going to get all these questions, and I'm telling you, this is going to shape, your responses are going to shape what Rotary looks like when we exit COVID-19 and moving forward. And so I'm asking for your input. So question number 8, are you currently involved in the flag program in some capacity? I'm asking everybody to tell us that, yes or no. If yes, I need to know what you're doing, and if no, why are you not involved, and how can we get you involved at a level that you're comfortable with? I know sometimes we tell these stories about, working all day and all weekend, and that's probably not the best story to tell when you're asking people to volunteer for the flag program. But I think all of you know the little adage, many hands make light work, and we really do need many hands in order to really manage the program at its current level, and if we intend to grow it at any sustainable level. So I'm going to be asking every Rotarian, what's your current level of involvement? And if you're not involved, is there something that you could do? Okay. We have 634 pending renewals that haven't renewed. Sometimes people aren't comfortable going out and putting out flags or working in the heat, but maybe you would take 10 or 20 of these people and call them and see if you could help get their flags renewed, because that's just something we physically don't have time to do. And so we just wait for them to call, and a few of them called after Memorial Day and a few more of them have called after Flag Day, and hopefully most of them will have called by 4th of July so we could get their flags up. So we need some help with that. Question number 9, are you happy with the direction and leadership of our club? If yes, what are we doing well? And if no, what can we do better or differently? So I am asking for your unfiltered direction, kudos, criticism, whatever you want to tell us. This is the time to let us know how you feel. And then finally, question number 10, is there a role, position, or office that you'd be willing to serve in if asked? I have found that many people are willing to serve, they're just waiting to be asked. And so I'm asking, at the moment virtually, but I'll ask you in person, if there's a role that you'd like to serve in, then let's talk about it. Because I'm mapping out the direction of our club through 2024, 2025. I've got a 5-year plan, every office, every position that helps run this club. And if you'd like to serve in some capacity, then I would like to give you that opportunity. So that is my 10 questions. Thank you for participating in this Rotary meeting. Only 2 of you popped off during the meeting. So for the other 20 of you that stayed on, I say thank you. We will send these questions. Mara, I'll send them to you in the next 3 minutes, and we'll make sure that those get shared. Questions only have a benefit if you give me an answer.
May I make a 1-minute announcement?
You can make a 1-minute announcement, but I do need to tell you the battery on my laptop, oh, we'll probably make it. I got 5% left on my battery.
I'll go fast. I will agree. I absolutely agree with you and Maura about the importance of connecting with the young professionals. And we need to really push that effort. The 2 announcements are both district announcements. Tomorrow night at 5:30, if you remember, the district conference this year was canceled. Everybody was going to go to Hawaii and have a great time. That did not turn out. So there's an aloha party tomorrow night at 5:30. If you want to sit in front of your computer and have a reason to drink all by yourself, that's what you can do for an hour at 5:30. And the second announcement, Robert, this corrects what I had said earlier, that the new governor installation for John Moser is a week from today, Thursday, the 25th, at Heritage Ranch Golf and Country Club in Fairview. If any of you want to go, you're all welcome. Go on the RI website. There's a sign up page on there because they're limiting the attendance to 100 people. And thank you.
Very good. Well, in just a moment, I'm going to have Randy Hubbard lead us in the 4-way test. But before we do, anybody else have questions, comments, input regarding Rotary or the flag program or any of the things we brought up today? Remember, if you want to speak, you need to either unmute yourself or push your space bar down so we can hear from you. Anybody? All right, Bob Bourgeois, I see you reaching for that. There you go, up. I think Bob, there you go.
I turned off the video instead of unmuting myself. Just a quick comment on your, yes, growing the flag program. I used to tell Kathy Howard, you keep selling and we'll keep making flags and we'll let you know when to stop selling. So she has done a tremendous job of marketing over the years. And yes, we are reaching the limits of the flag program right now with the people we have. But that's one of the reasons video and putting things, as you know, Rick Lindsay does these instruction sheets, and he says he needs to debrief me. We need to debrief everybody in the flag program currently so that we can prepare to retire, because, and that's my main motivation. We need to get everything down on video and on paper so that people know what's involved, because when you break these jobs into their component parts, if you have a half hour a week or 5 hours a week, we can find something for you to do. And I forget what else I was going to say. Oh, the first responders. Right now, this year we did give flags to all the Medal of Honor folks in Irving. I know that Bruce Burns, Al Zapanta, I think there were 5 or 6 Medal of Honor recipients that the club now gives them flags for nothing. And we also have a deal with the Boy Scouts that we don't have to pay them for the flags that we use promotionally. So we are starting that. But my question on first responders would obviously be how many, because I think there are a lot of veterans and a lot of first responders.
I think there probably are too. So that's why we got to think through that carefully. Well, this was, I titled this a conversation with the Irving Las Colinas Rotary members. So it was really, this is not directives. This is just us having a conversation, me asking for your input so that we can try to map out the proper direction of the club going forward. So Lazaro, I'm gonna give you the last question. My computer's down to 3%, and then I'm gonna let Randy lead us in the 4-way test, all right?
I just got one comment you said as far as why is this whole program important, why we need to figure out how to make it grow and all of that, because it's important. You guys remember, I don't know if you guys remember, I was a recipient of that scholarship that the Rotary gives out, and because of the scholarship, I was able to kind of go from where I was to where I am now. So everything that we're doing now could affect so many people in the future and change so many lives. So I just want to, everything that we're doing right now, it affects a lot of people. So thank you for everything that you guys are doing, and looking forward to see how we can grow this and benefit so many more young people through the scholarship program, because it affected me. So thank you for everything you do.
Imagine what Rotary would look like 20 years from now if every one of our members was a scholarship recipient or in some way was impacted by Rotary going through school. How that would impact the look and the feel of our club. They wouldn't just be members because of the fact that they needed to go have lunch or they wanted to help out. They would have be giving back the same way Rotary gave to them. So that's part of the future planning. I need you to respond to the questions, and then we're going to continue this conversation next week as we honor the current year's board. So Jordan, if you'll put up the 4-way test. Randy, give Jordan just a moment to mute everybody, and then he'll unmute you so that you can lead us in the 4-way test.
Things we think, say.
All right, we got Lazaro up there. We need Randy Hubbard up there, Jordan. All right, we're working on it.
You ready for
Randy?
me?
Yeah, now we got your picture up there. So lead us in the 4-way test.
Thank you, Mr. President. If you would, please join me in the 4-way test of the things we think, say, and do. First, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? And fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Thank you, Randy. Thank you to all of the Rotarians that joined today. We're going to be going back to the full screen. There we are. Thank you to all of you. Janine, thank you for joining. Please give our best regards to Superintendent Hernandez. Remember, we've got a work day Saturday morning at the YMCA shed, and I have a flag I got to go put out as soon as Rotary's over. So Kathy, I'll get that taken care of in the next half an hour, all right? Well, good to see everybody. If you need to go, you can go. If you want to stay and visit with Bill LaBar or some of the others that you haven't seen in a while, it'll stay up for probably another 20 minutes. So thanks to all of you. I'll see you at the country club next week if you feel able and wanting to join us, all right? God bless you.
Can I talk to Lazaro after the meeting?
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Don Jensen.
Don, I'll give you a call.
Yeah, here. Basically, we were talking about some.